Hi, everybody. It's Glenn McKnight, and this is a series of interviews with managers, staff of schools of internet governance. And as our guest today, we have Eduardo Diaz, and we're going to talk about the North American School of Internet Governance. Okay. Oh, there. Let's talk about NASIG. What's its origins? What are some of the achievements?
Well, thank you, Glenn, for the invitation today. For those that do know me, my name is Eduardo Diaz, which you introduced me, and my background is in an electrical engineer and the current chair of the North American Regional Large Organization within ICANN. It was NASIG started from an idea in 2016, most specifically during the global IGF that happened in Jalisco, Mexico that year. I had a chance to participate in that great event with my colleague Alfredo Calderon, which is your colleague in the Virtual School of Internet Governance. And I remember that we both went to one of the sessions, and I believe it was Olga Cavalli from the South School of Internet Governance that was moderating that session. And the session was about schools of internet governance, and the same thing, more or less the same thing that you're doing here. What do you do, what things are happening, what things work for you, what things do not work for you. And so she went around, the Asia, the South School and so forth and so forth, but there was none for North America, period. I mean, there was zero report from North America because there was not a school of internet governance in North America. So once we got out of that session, Alfredo and I put our heads together and said, well, ICANN is coming to Puerto Rico in 2018. Let's put something together and try to do something in conjunction. And that's what we did. When we went back to Puerto Rico, we put our heads together and we created a framework and we gathered several volunteers that helped, make this happen, help make this happen. So in 2017, we got the big hurricane in Puerto Rico, Maria, which, at that time we were not sure if we were going to be ready for the 2018 ICANN meeting. In fact, ICANN didn't know if it was able to come here, but they did. So we went ahead and did it, and we have a very successful meeting here in Puerto Rico. It was a 2-day event. And we were able to get funding to support travel, people to travel and the hotels in Puerto Rico. Plus, many of the people also were planning to. Some of the participants were planning to come to the ICANN meeting on ICANN's fellowships, and so we were able to we got about 43 people from Puerto Rico, United States, Canada, and gender balance, it was more or less the same. So the big difference that we did is since this was focused for North America, we just, the only people that could apply were people from North America. And we got a couple of people that, even though they were not part of the region, we allowed them to come, but they have to pay their own dime, I think we covered their hotel, but not their travel. In any case, we focused, we decided to focus in North American School of Internet Governance because into North American issues or North American IGF, looking at it from a North American view. And it was a 2-day successful. All the event was recorded thanks to you. That with the 2 days. We got exit interviews and several documents that people wrote about every session that they were summarizing. So, overall, it was very well-rounded, and I think people had not only a good time after the actual meeting, but during the meeting itself, because we brought, themes from all over the spectrum.
So let me ask you: was it in Spanish and English, or just strictly English?
It was only in English. We didn't have money for interpretation at the time. Even we didn't have money for transcript, different transcripts for people that couldn't hear the videos.
Oh, okay.
So we decided to do it in English, and it was not a problem. And the people that came there all spoke English, and that was part of the requirements that when we invited them, you have to speak English because this whole thing is going to be in English. So in the as part of this coordination, we didn't want the group that did this in Puerto Rico to be in charge of the next schools going forward. I mean, we could have done that, but we didn't. We were all volunteers. So the model that we adopted was that whenever we wanted to have this, and we just really, the model was really to follow ICANN, because we could the ICANN meetings in North America, because we could do this before the ICANN this ICANN meetings, in terms of for saving money mostly, because some of the people that go to these ICANN meetings, they could go into the IGF. Not that the meeting, the North American School of Internet Governance is all about ICANN, but the people that are participating there we're going to usually go to the ICANN meeting. So there were some savings there. And so we adopted that model, and in 2019, the ICANN meeting went to Toronto, right?
No, we had it in Montreal.
In Montreal, I'm sorry, Montreal. I got confused, and you were the person that coordinated this whole thing with your people there in the area, and we from Puerto Rico, we provide support too. And that was a successful NASIG. I mean, we got excellent reviews from that. And the approach was different, because you opened this to anyone that wanted to go, which is fine. That's the beauty about this, is that whoever is coordinating this, whatever region in North America has, they can do what it feels them that is what they wanted to do in terms of this school. Then in 2020, the pandemic hit us in March. We had discussed doing this in the Washington area at that time, and we talked to Dustin Loop, which is the person that coordinates the IGF USA, and he agreed to do this, to coordinate it also, with your help, my help, and other people's help. But the pandemic hit, and things got all convoluted. People were suddenly inside their houses. There was not a clear path to correct this pandemic, and so everybody was like, looking back and say, looking at what is going to happen next. But the IGF doesn't start coordinating the IGF, and then started coordinating the NASIG. We started talking about it, but there we found a point that it wasn't, the motivation of doing this within the pandemic, not knowing, this people were learning about doing things virtually, and not everybody was connected, how you connect to them. So we decided to skip the 2020 because of some, those reasons. But then now we're in 2021. We have learned a lot about how people do meetings, how you arrange things, how we're more comfortable doing this type of event virtually. So we decided to move ahead and have a NASIG during the ICANN meeting that is going to happen in October. Is ICANN 72, just before it. And I have been talking with people like you and other people to start working on this. We're not thinking about doing a 2-day event, maybe half a day event, very pointing with a very specific theme. We're looking to, we have been chatting about doing a theme like digital inclusion, and come with, to use that theme, and then, bring people that understand different issues around the digital inclusion problem. and but that's not definitive yet. That's something that we're thinking about.
Now, so let me just ask you: is the ICANN meeting in Seattle canceled, or it's going? Sorry, not canceled, but virtual only?
Nobody knows.
Okay.
I received an email yesterday. Today is what I don't remember what day is today. It's the 24th of May.
Yeah.
And of 2021. And I know ICANN is going to go out with a survey to about 4,000 people that have opted in to receive emails from the various meetings that people go. And they're asking people, what if if you have a mask for the whole period, what happens, if we do tests for COVID there and so forth. Various, they want to get a sense of what people want.
Okay.
I guess because many states in the United States are opening, and their doors for restaurants and people to take masks off and things like that. But that's not necessarily true outside the United States in many other countries. So it's going to be, if it's going to happen, it's going to be a hybrid meeting. And I don't know how they're going to run, especially because of the time zones and the type of dynamics that you get when you are face to face versus when you are in visual. It's different. It feels different. So we decided to go virtual. Doesn't matter if it's going to be face to face. We're going to do it virtually for 2021. However, for the 2022, which is going to happen in the North American region again, yes, we're going to do another NASIG there. That's going to be in March of 2022, and it's going to be a face-to-face event. It might be 1 day or 2 days. We haven't decided. It depends on the amount of money that we can raise, and eventually it's going to be a face-to-face, definitely. If nothing changes, like another thing happens with this pandemic that nobody knows, but all points out that with these vaccines, things are starting to stabilize, and people can go out and do things and have a normal life.
And
so
that would be March 4th and 5th, just before the ICANN meeting, right?
Yes, just before the ICANN meeting. Yes.
And would that be open to anyone to attend that, or?
It will be open to anyone. I like the idea, the thing that you did in Montreal, they're opening it to everyone, because look, digital inclusion is digital inclusion, and digital inclusion affects everyone,
right?
Not only in North America. So it would be a nice to hear perspective from different. Well, I'm talking about digital inclusion for Seattle.
Right.
In NASIG of 2022, we haven't decided which theme we want to use. But let's say, for example, if we take digital inclusion again, it's good to have perspective from different regions of the world, how they look at it. Because in the United States, maybe as part of the digital inclusion, broadband access and things like that are not as bad as in other regions around the world. Okay. So, but at this point of time, it's too early to know what things we're going to cover during that NASIG, but we're going to plan to do a face-to-face in 2022 here in Puerto Rico.
When you mentioned about Montreal, when we did the Montreal event in 2019, we had 2 tracks. We had 2 days English and another track exclusively in French. So that was and it had its own challenges, and from a challenge point of view, and I know you did not have this challenge in Puerto Rico, but it was super expensive doing it at the local university. We did it at Concordia, which meant we had to use their caterers. So between the cost of the rental of the rooms and the cleaning and the food and the storage, it basically ate half our budget. So we had to raise a lot more money to be able to deliver it. So, and I think in your case, I assume you would go back to the same university, or
well, we are lucky because we have one of our large structures has a lot of connections with different universities in Puerto Rico. So finding a place, we might do it. It's probably not going to cost us the same thing that cost you when you went to that place. So we can save money that way. So, which is a huge cost. Catering is different. The catering you can use, they're cheap. You don't have to use catering from those universities at all. I mean, you can get them cheaper outside, or sometimes they can have good deals. But we have those types of connections. I think the biggest cost there was traveling, and no facilities. It was mostly traveling. And the hotels. We didn't have any per diem. We offer breakfast, dinner. I mean lunch, and sometimes we got a couple of dinners.
So my understanding is Norello, which you're the chair of, will be having a general assembly in Puerto Rico. So there's a potential of a huge capacity building of the Norello membership to participate in NASIG as well.
Yeah. That's the part of the idea. I don't know how much the budget that we have, but I think we have budgets for about 26 or 30 people to come, to bring down to Puerto Rico. So definitely, it's a matter of getting them a couple of days of hotels, and they can come and participate and use this as part of the capacity building of the whole region, which is going to be great.
So where are you? I guess I'm going to keep pushing this idea because of the experience in Montreal about a French track. Would you not consider a Spanish track as a parallel track as well?
We can do that, but seeing how much effort is doing this is like twice the work.
I know.
And we are not a big group, so I'm in Puerto Rico. We have the facility. We learn English since we're kids, so maybe we don't speak it all the time, but we understand, especially at a professional level, that to bring people in. So I don't think that would be a big problem. So I'm not planning to do anything in Spanish at all. No.
Okay. What about any theme for again the theme for the virtual, or the theme for the one in Puerto Rico in the spring of 22? Do you have an actual theme that you're thinking of, or it's too early to tell?
Well, I mentioned for the one in Seattle this year, we're thinking about doing something around the digital inclusions theme.
Okay.
It's the one in 2022 that I'm not sure, because it's too early to talk about that. So that's my answer there. And even the digital inclusion theme for Seattle might be it's not firm. I mean, that's something that I've been discussing here with some people, but we need to get more heads together to see what's the ideal theme that will make sense to bring into that North American Internet Governance Forum.
Okay, so we talked about the opportunities. We talked about the challenges. If we put our future glasses on and looking down the road, is there? And again, we're just brainstorming. Is there some additional ideas that you'd like to see develop? Maybe a relationship with a local university, sort of an accreditation program or an extension program. Is there anything that's sort of in the back of your head that
no, not at this time. No, I mean those sounds are very good ideas, but I haven't thought about that. We haven't thought about that yet.
Okay.
On that respect, the challenge that we're going to have going forward after March 2022 is if we keep using this model of how getting somebody in the States or Canada or here in Puerto Rico to manage the 2023 North American school. Right. That's a challenge. Getting somebody to coordinate something like that is going to be a challenge. People, I have seen people getting less and less motivational to come to these events. I'm talking here virtually, okay? Because I think they're tired, or not about the events itself, but of having participating in so many webinars and meetings virtually. there is a need for people to have face-to-face interaction, because there are things that happen when you are do face-to-face that do not happen with individual. It's so this is this motivational participating and coordinating something face-to-face in when you're coming out of visual life, it's going to take some time.
Yeah, there's
so that's a challenge. That's a challenge that I see.
You bring up an important point. As other schools, it's run by volunteers, and there's a question of burnout, right? And on the good side, NASIG has had a hiatus because Washington was canceled, so we've had a little bit of a period to forget all the work that was involved and get moving again. But I think getting more and more people involved and training them and having them do job shadowing and move from an assistant in whether it's logistics or program development, that they actually take ownership of that task. So it's an evolution, but again, it's skills development, and we have so many great people around, and as you pointed out, we did it with in each case as a precursor to ICANN, and it's an amazing group of people. The participants, but the speakers were real, definitely world-class people.
Oh yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, so I don't think there's much to change there, and it's just nailing down what you actually want to do for the fall as well as next year. So I think there's plenty of time for that.
Yeah. Well, for the one in fall, we're getting close to fall. So, but since it's going to be a visual meeting, it's just a matter of thinking what we want to talk about and getting people to come and participate.
Right.
Now, when you talk about face-to-face, there are logistics that then you have to prepare way before, ahead of time, especially finding funding to help you, do what you want to do.
Right.
But I am very positive that we will be able to do it.
That's great.
Well, we have a track to show that the things that we have done, and so
Yeah. Well, we all work as a team. We're gonna wrap up. Any other final comments? And
no.
Do you have a website or a Facebook site or?
I haven't. The sign that you see there is going to be in the new website, but I haven't put it together. I'm planning to have it sometime before July. Something just to get it going and have a digital property, somewhere that people can go and visit, and they can look what we did in 2019 and 2018. So they can look, what sort of schools what we have.
That's
and the
great.
things that we cover. So it's important that people look at history. So, this is not something of a fly-by-night thing. This is something that we want to move forward going, when we look at it in the future, it's something that should perdure. I don't know if that's the right word, but it should be something that should happen at least once a year in North America.
Okay. Great. Thank you thanks for the time. I'm going to conclude this and we'll chat again.
Okay, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And
Bye-bye.
thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.